Right now, let's go to the kitchen and see what Terry is cooking up.
Well, great. We're here with Tracey Medeiros, who is is the author of Dishing Up Vermont, who this show is named after for today. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure. Well, when I moved to Vermont several years ago, I was very impressed with the Vermont farmers, chefs, and food producers. And because of my culinary background and my passion for good food and a desire to write a cookbook, prompted me to go to local bookstores hunting for cookbooks dedicated to Vermont and their products. And I soon realized, Sean, that they were a rare commodity.
They are. They're kind of hard to find.
So the idea just started to form, and I started calling up Vermont farmers, chefs, and food producers from the Vermont Fresh Network.
Yep.
And I introduced myself, and I told them about my project. And they were so kind and so supportive, and they just started sending me recipes.
Well, that's fantastic. It's an amazing book, and if you haven't seen it, I mean, you can pretty much go to any bookstore in the state, and they have it outside the state, online. I mean, it's everywhere. It's really blowing up, and it's a fantastic book. What are you going to make out of the book for us today?
Well, I'm going to make a creamy braising green soup.
That sounds good.
And I was inspired to create this dish because I love Pete's Greens braising greens.
Fantastic job. And where do you usually buy them?
You can buy them at Healthy Living,
right.
City Market, so many places.
The CSA, on and on and on.
Exactly.
Pretty much if there's a place that sells greens, it's Pete's Greens.
Exactly.
Yeah, great stuff.
So the first step you would do is you would saute some bacon, but because of time purposes, I've already done that.
Okay.
And I have the fat in the pot, so I'm now going to add some onions.
Okay.
And I'm going just to add that to the pot.
So basically like a white Spanish onion would be fine for
Exactly, or a
Okay.
Vidalia if you
Okay.
prefer sweet. That's what's so great about this soup, Sean. It's very versatile.
Yep.
So if you want Spanish, use Spanish. If you want a sweeter onion like a Vidalia, you could use that as well.
Or a Walla Walla, I mean, when that's in season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to add some carrots too.
Okay.
And I'm going to just saute this for a little bit. Do you want to
I
have
can
the
do
honors?
That.
Great.
I can do that.
So for those of the viewers who aren't familiar with braising greens, they are a dark green leafy vegetable, and they are high in vitamin C, vitamin A, fiber, and they're just a wonderful, inexpensive green to use.
Which greens kind of fit into leafy green, or winter greens?
You can have spinach or kale or collards or mustard greens. And that's what's so great about the soup, because if you like kale, throw in kale. If you want, mustard greens, throw in mustard greens.
It's flexible.
Exactly, very flexible. And that's what I like about Pete's Greens, because he has a wonderful mix of all sorts of greens.
He does. He really does a great job. And in Craftsbury, Vermont, where they're located, it's just a beautiful complex, a beautiful farm, and they have a great system of doing things. And he's been in business for a long time, and he's kind of a model for a lot of people who are getting into the CSA business and the organic, who are just kind of recently getting into it. He does a really amazing job.
And that's why I wanted him to be in the book. And I called him and I said, Pete, I want you to be in the book. And he's like, I really don't have a recipe for your cookbook. So I said, Pete, if I create a recipe and you like it, can we use you, your ingredients, and the recipe? And he said, yes. So it worked out.
So here we are.
So we're going to saute these like so. And just again, because of time purposes, I'm going to start with the next step, which is the sausage.
Okay, and what kind of sausage do you have here?
Well, I recommend a Portuguese-style sausage, which is linguiça or chorizo. And the difference between the two, linguiça does not have any heat. So if you don't like heat, go with the linguiça. But if you like heat, go with the chorizo.
Yes.
And if you can't find either of those at the grocery store, which you should, you could also use a Spanish sausage. And it's a chorizo. But again, if you like a different sausage, throw that in instead.
And chorizo is really good because right now a lot of producers in Vermont who are raising animals are making chorizo.
Exactly.
Yeah, whether it's like, North Hollow makes some, and there's a lot of different producers. PT makes some, and I think, everybody makes chorizo right now. It's like the hip thing at the farmer's market, which is good.
It is. So now I'm going to add, or if you like to.
I like to add.
Thank you, Sean. We're going to add the sausage, and we're also going to add the garlic.
Okay.
And as you can see, the soup has wonderful colors. You have the red from the sausage, you have the green from the carrots, and then at the end we have this, the orange from the carrots, and then at the end you have wonderful green from the kale.
Right. So tell me a little bit more about this book. I mean, is it just soups? I mean, is it everything? Is it desserts? Is it?
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's very eclectic. And I mean, we have apple recipes, we have cheese recipes, we have emu recipes.
Emu recipes.
Yes, but we have one emu recipe. And you were kind enough, Sean, to contribute 2 wonderful recipes as well.
We did
beef.
some recipes. It was a lot of fun.
I love the filet mignon. I make it all the time. It's really, really tasty.
I think it was the first time I actually had to write a recipe down. Was when you called me and you forced me to.
Well, I love it because it's simple, there's not a lot of ingredients, and it's a beautiful presentation, and it's very tasty.
I think that's what's unique about your book, too, is when you really read through it, it's stuff that really every home cook can do, which
that's
is
what I wanted
great.
to do.
Well, I think you definitely did it. I mean, a lot of cookbooks are really complex and get really into the intricacies of things, and your stuff is very simple. I mean, it's very flavorful, but very basic home-style cooking, which I think people love.
Thank you. And I wanted to make it accessible to both amateur and expert cooks.
Well, good. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So from here, what do we do?
Okay, now from here, once we've completely sautéed the sausage and the garlic, we're going to add some potatoes.
Okay, and this is a lot of potatoes, which is good. 6
boiling potatoes.
Wow.
I used Yukon, but just a potato that's low in starch.
Okay.
And we're also going to add 7.5 cups of stock. So this is 3.5 here.
And is this vegetable or chicken stock?
This is chicken stock. And I use a low sodium chicken stock, Sean, because I like to add the salt at the end.
Right. You can always add it at the end, but you can never take it away.
Yeah, it's too much of a hassle. And then this is the other 4 cups right in here. And we're just going to add that. And then we're going to bring it to a simmer.
Okay.
And once we bring it to a simmer, we're going to add some heavy cream and today we have kale. And we're going to add the cream very slowly so it doesn't break.
Right, right. Because if you add it too fast, then it breaks and it
doesn't look as visually appealing.
Right.
And right here we have the finished product right next to you.
Which is beautiful. I mean, when you look at this, it's just... Yeah, I mean, you have... I don't know if we can get the camera on this, but it's you get this beautiful kale, and you get the sausage and the potatoes. And I guess the beauty is, as it cooks, the potato really starts to break down and help thicken that soup.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Thank you. Would you like to try some?
I would love to try some of this soup.
Just be careful, it's very hot.
It's all right. I like hot soup. So, writing this book, what were some of the challenges of you writing this book?
I wouldn't say challenges. I would say more, for me, it was just the meeting my deadlines. I wouldn't say so much challenging, it's just a little stressful at times.
Yeah.
But people were so, again, respectful and just getting things to me on time. And that's why, as a thank you to all these hardworking men and women, I'm donating a portion of the proceeds from Dishing Up Vermont back to the Vermont Fresh Network.
That's amazing.
So they can continue doing all the wonderful things that this network does. I'm very impressed with the network.
No, they do an amazing job.
They do. They really, really do. And I just wanted to thank them for allowing me to fulfill my goal, my dream of putting a cookbook together.
And a fantastic cookbook it is. So I mean, if you haven't seen the cookbook, definitely go out there. You can get it by donating to VPT right now.
Just a little garnish.
A little garnish of bacon, which is always what I love. But it really is a fantastic book, and especially, I like the big spoon.
You do? I love that, Sean.
I'm into the big spoon.
Okay.
But especially going into the holiday season, I mean, you can never go wrong with a gift like this. It's fantastic. And I love creamy green, so I'm very excited for this.
And what's great about this book, too, it's only $19.95, Sean. So you have...
It's a steal.
Yeah, you have all of these wonderful photographs, beautiful paper, lots of recipes, beautiful stories, because I wanted to put a face on these hardworking farmers and chefs. And make that connection. So for $19.95, a lot of times you don't have photographs or the quality of the paper is not as good.
No, and this book is a steal. I mean, if you haven't read it out there, definitely get it out there. We'd like to thank you for coming out today.
Thank you so much,
We're going to throw it right back to the fund drive, but this is a fantastic soup. Thank you so much for being today.
Thank you, Sean.
And you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone if you donate to Vermont Public Television at the $70 level. You don't have to buy the book because we will give it to you.